And we are live here on the KellyCast YouTube channel. And this has got to be a first for the channel, Mike. You are not wearing Bills
I
gear
am not
today.
wearing any football gear at all.
Is it all in the wash?
It's all in my closet.
What's it doing there, sir?
Trying to find where the Bills are. That's what I was trying to do.
You asked me about this hat when I
did.
came down wearing
I
it. And the reason for this hat today, folks, is football is a child's game. And the Bills are playing like children right now. I just don't even know where to start, Mike. Yesterday, I walked away from the game. I walked away. I didn't even stay up to let my buddy get out the house. I said, I'm going downstairs. See you later. Dap you up. Get out of my house.
Yep, I walked your buddy out the door.
That was nice of you.
Not really. I didn't really walk him out. I was like, see you later.
I gave him that. The Buffalo Bills lose to the Cincinnati Bengals last night by a score of 24-18. Let me ask you flat out, Mike. We'll start here. Who do you blame for this loss?
It's really tough to put a finger on any one singular person.
I didn't say person. You can go a lot of different routes here.
I'm sure there could. God, where do you start? There's so much to pick on.
It starts with a O.
Yeah, I mean, offense was obviously terrible.
Offense was the problem. I mean, look. The injuries we talk about all the time, right? Tre'Davious White gone, Daquan Jones gone, Von Miller still coming back, all this stuff, right? You're down to Tyrell Dodson and Dorian Williams at linebacker. Micah Hyde gets hurt multiple times throughout this game. Dane Jackson plays like a number one corner all day, which was shocking to me. You hold the Cincinnati Bengals to 24 points. That
they didn't play like the 19th ranked defense.
That is a good place to be. Like, in terms of playing against the Cincinnati Bengals, who should, they've been on the rise ever since San Francisco when they started getting their players back and things like that. They've been playing better, and they're on the rise right now. They're going to continue to play good for the rest of the year, really, is what you're going to get from the Cincinnati Bengals. Buffalo needed to do more offensively, and what happened is they sputtered, just like they have done all year. They show up when it's too late. When it is too late, Mike. I was so disappointed in that game.
Disappointed is not really the words that come to mind, but almost expected, because Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals have played us that well every single time.
It's only the second time we played them.
Doesn't matter. they were headed that. I know you said it's too early. It was too early to tell. It happened in the first 5 minutes of the damn game, but they were headed that way.
Even if you count that game, which doesn't count technically, it's still
three times.
That's it, though. That's it. That's the only amount of time that we've seen the Cincinnati Bengals, and for whatever reason, it feels like the Chiefs all over again. It feels like a team that we just cannot play on their level.
It feels worse than the Chiefs because we're a lot closer to the Chiefs. We've been a lot closer. Okay. 13 seconds overtime. I mean, it's been a lot closer games. The Bengals have straight out. Okay, 7-3 is not exactly a blowout.
Yeah,
but they outplayed us. It felt like a blowout at 7-3, and it's almost inexplicable. Other than Joe Burrow is the best zone quarterback in the league.
Debatable. I mean, you got Mahomes, you got Lawrence, you got other people who can pick apart zones. I mean, C.J. Stroud really showed out this past week. But I have a man on screen right now who calls plays for the Buffalo Bills, Mike, and that is none other than Ken Dorsey. And I've thought a lot about Dorsey these past 24 hours and whether or not how I feel about where the blame should go. And I've come to the decision that I don't know if it all goes on Dorsey because, you know, in a professional football game, or really any football game, you come out and your first, let's say, 12 to 17 plays are scripted. You have them set in stone. This is what we're running. This is why we're running it. They do that, and they score on the first drive of the game. Buffalo Bills go down and score a touchdown, no problem. Looks like it's going to be one of those kinds of games where Allen scores, Burrow scores, Allen scores, Burrow scores, comes down to the last possession. That's what it felt like in that first quarter.
Sure.
But then it sputtered. Nothing happened. I mean, there was no rushing game for the Buffalo Bills. I don't even, these numbers, Mike, they are uglier than that hat that I was wearing this time. I mean, Cincinnati Bengals, time of possession, 36 minutes. Buffalo Bills, 23. 2 forced turnovers by the Bengals. Now, I cannot blame Dalton Kincaid for that fumble. It was literally the perfect position for that linebacker to be in. There's nothing you can do about that. Allen's interception, putrid, gross, ugly, completely underthrown ball to a guy who did not catch a pass. So if you guys see Gabe Davis out there, I'm sure he's on a lot of milk cartons. But the Buffalo Bills just did not seem to show up. And Mike, they're still, like, in terms of PFF, in terms of stats, in terms of offense, they're still top of the league.
Yeah.
I hate it. Make it make sense.
I can't. I wish I could. But they interviewed one of the Bengals after the game, and they said they asked him how they did it. Basically, I can't remember the exact question.
I got you.
Barely paraphrasing at this point, but he said we took Steph Diggs out. He said our goal was to get in Diggs' head, and we took him out and made the offense one-dimensional. And going against Josh Allen, Josh Allen is he can tear you up a lot of different ways. They said they got a linebacker. His exact words were, they got a linebacker at quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
they really did not hold Diggs that bad. I mean, 6 receptions, 86 yards. He averaged 14.3 and a score. At the end of the day, what is your thoughts on Josh Allen running the football more? Because to me, what it seemed like in that first half, and your dad said this too, is like Allen is not a pocket guy. He can't just sit in the pocket all day. And once we saw him start scrambling more in that second half, we started seeing progression from this Bills offense. And not just to mention that, but the rushing game was not there. James Cook, 6 carries for 20 yards, averaging only 3.3. Latavius Murray got 2 carries. Josh Allen led the team in rushing once again, 8 carries for 44 yards and a score. Now is the second quarterback all-time in rushing touchdowns, which congratulations, Josh. But
yeah, my thoughts on him running is I need a little bit more of it. I don't want him to get hurt, but that's just his game. That seems to be his game.
That's what he does well.
And I'd like to say that, I bring GR up a lot because we listen to it a whole ton, obviously.
You're forgetting that I'm not in the truck anymore? Are you having conversations with me when I'm not there?
Thank God I'm not at that stage yet. I'm only almost 40, not 80.
You're younger than Jason Peters. Can you believe that? He took a snap in an NFL game this week.
41 years old? Yep. It's crazy. But they were saying how he plays his best when he's playing backyard ball into them. So, and I take their word at it because I've been listening to them since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But
He does.
He said to me that says that's a personnel problem. That's a coaching problem. There's issues. If your quarterback is playing his best ball when it's backyard football, then there's a major problem somewhere. There's a disconnect.
Yeah, and I don't know where the disconnect is, but I switched the image on screen, Mike. I know all we can see is a big green blob, but up there right now is the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Mr. Sean McDermott, and this is another thing I've been thinking about. I've been discussing it with some people today, and I'm gonna give it to my buddy Dylan at work, who came up with this kind of saying. He said, I think he said Ken Dorsey was a great offensive mind, but he doesn't think he should have the play calling duties on the offense. And I said, I like that idea, but there's nobody else in there who's going to call plays.
They mentioned a name earlier, and I can't remember.
Maybe it's a quarterback coach. Getting back into Sean McDermott, you asked me during the offseason, because we had a conversation about offensive-minded and defensive-minded head coaches and how the league is kind of changing. And I think I might be changing too. Like, he is great at crafting a team. He is great at putting guys together, getting them motivated. But I cannot sit here at this bar and tell you that Sean McDermott is going to bring this team to the Super Bowl.
I'm not there either, to be honest, and I want it to.
And I was there. I was there at one point.
But the unfortunate reality is they just gave these guys extensions, and I know it happens. Mm-hmm. People get fired all the time. I mean, look at the Raiders. He's paying $80 million to two coaches to not coach their team. But they just gave them an extension. There's a sense of stability in the organization that they hadn't had prior to them.
Yeah, but the problem is like,
and if you look at the Pagulas track history, just period owning sports, they kept Lindy around forever and ever too for the longest time because of the loyalty and the stability. Yeah. And then once he left, everything went
bad. Yeah. I don't know where the problem is. Like, do they need to hire a defensive coordinator? Do they need?
I think they need Leslie Frazier back. I think we're really missing Leslie Frazier, and I hope that he does come back.
Whatever it is, there's some kind of disconnect for the Buffalo Bills right now.
We will never know about going on.
And Mike, they're out of the playoff race right now. The Buffalo Bills are not in the playoffs if the season ended today. I can't tell you the last time that was the case. 6 years ago?
No, didn't it happen during the 13 seconds a couple years ago? We were in a bad spot, and then we went on a late tear.
Nah, I think we went 13-3 that year.
I'm pretty sure we were in a bad spot that year, a couple years ago, and you'll have to look that up.
You're talking about the 2021 season?
The 13-second game.
Yeah, that's the 2021
season. The 2021 season. I'm pretty sure it was 2021.
That year, during like COVID, if that's the one you're talking about, the Bills went 11-6. It looks like was the final record.
11-6. So we were in a bad spot. We were down, and then we went on a late season tear. But the problem is I don't see that.
I don't think they were out of the playoffs. I think they were.
They might not have been out of the playoffs, but they were down. They were, everybody.
Looks like they were like 7. They were 7-6. They were 7-6, and then went on a 4-game win streak to end the year. So yeah.
Okay, so in a similar spot. So.
It's not time to absolutely hit the panic button right now. You are 5-4. There's still things you can do. It just needs to get done. That's the problem. They want to talk about, we're not in a rhythm. We're not in this. We can't do that. Where was the up-tempo? They went up-tempo against Tampa Bay. It worked. They were asked about it in the postgame, Mike.
Yeah.
And Josh says, that wasn't a part of our game plan this week. And my first thought is your game plan to lose? Because your up-tempo offense is working. And whether that's Josh calling the plays and and being allowed to make those decisions, or whether it's something with the offense not understanding Dorsey's system, whatever it is, I like that. A lot of people like that. Like, why couldn't we just do that? The Buffalo Bills gained 317 total yards, Mike. Only 68 rushing yards. Efficient on third down. But really, it came down to the turnovers. That fumble by Kincaid really cost the Bills. And again, I don't think it's his fault. I don't care if you're a veteran player. If you're airborne and somebody punches the ball out, there is absolutely nothing you can do.
I don't think it got punched out, but
It did.
It did. Did it get punched?
Yeah, Jermaine Pratt punched it.
Okay.
He was floating in the air, and it just got punched from right underneath his arm.
What second that I looked at the replay, it looked like it.
You thought he dropped it?
I thought that he dropped it trying to land.
Nope. He got punched right out of his hands.
Yeah.
Right out of his hands. So
But that wasn't the only turnover of the game either. So.
Well, of course, no. You
Just
get the early turnover, and the Bills hold the Bengals. They didn't even get points on that possession, which is ridiculous because they got the ball around midfield and the defense held up. But where do we go from here, Mike? I mean, what do? Do you simplify things coming into this Monday night matchup against the Denver Broncos? Like, what needs to happen? Because it seems like every couple of games you and I are having the same discussion about Josh spreading the football around.
Sure.
And this week was not bad. You can't say that. Diggs was 6, Kincaid had 10, Shakir 4, Cook 4, Sherfield had a catch, and Murray had a catch. No Deontay Hardy, no Gabe Davis. I think those guys need to be making more of an impact. And I think you need to get a running game going. You cannot stroll out a running back that carries 6 times for 20 yards. You just can't do it.
So we'll probably see Fournette in there this week then, I would assume.
I'd be okay with
giving
that.
him a few more touches.
I'd be okay with that. I'm sure, what Fournette gives you, I think, the way to describe him on this team would be a mix between James Cook and Latavius Murray, and the fact that he is a good receiving option and he can pass block.
Cook's been a pretty good receiving option.
He has, but he can't pass block.
No, he cannot.
Anytime you have James Cook in pass protection,
Leonard Fournette is definitely your pass blocker.
It does not work. What do you think? What do you think of your dad criticizing the safety play yesterday? He was saying they're slow. He
said they're slow.
Do you agree with that?
They're not going to be here in a couple. They're not going to be here next year, or within the next couple of years.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you agree with that.
Everybody loses a touch when they get older. Do I agree to the extent that he was complaining? No.
Okay.
I don't. I think that they're still relative. They're still at the top of towards the top of their game. Of course, they're not.
Yeah, they're not what they were a couple years ago. I got you.
But
Poyer led the team in tackles with 8, 3 assisted. Not many pressures. It looks like Buffalo might have gotten 1 sack on the day.
They got 1 sack, and it was a half between Leonard Floyd and somebody else. Can't remember.
Phillips.
It was pathetic. Yeah, Jordan Phillips and Leonard Floyd.
Nothing from Vaughn.
Apparently, they did not listen to my keys to the game. I said they got to pressure. They got to pressure Joe Burrow.
Nothing from Vaughn this week, which sucked to see. I saw him just get blocked to oblivion.
Yeah, I don't think his confidence is all there. He acts confident he in front of the camera and everything else because he's a lively personality. He's a great dude, but
yeah,
I think he's lacking some confidence in that knee right now.
I'm lacking confidence in the team. I honestly don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, they're out right now, so we have to worry about that. I don't want to be, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't be that team that has to wait and see what other teams do and hope this team wins, this team loses, this team ties, just so we can sneak into a freaking wild card spot.
With the exception of the Broncos, we have a very tough rest of the schedule.
Third hardest in the league.
It's the third hardest. So, I mean,
Cowboys, Eagles, Chiefs. It goes on. Dolphins, Chargers. Like, can we beat any of those teams right now? Probably not.
Play the Jets again.
Hopefully.
Hopefully
we can do that. That should be one of the easier ones, technically speaking.
Technically. I mean,
But Josh has struggled with the Jets recently, so. I don't know, man. I'm really just at the end of my line here. Like, my girl was texting me last night. She's like, everything's gonna be okay, and I said, I said it's not gonna be okay till they win. I'm gonna be mad again until they win.
No, I said if the Buffalo Bills lose this game, it's time to panic. And
hit that button.
I'm not. I've changed my mind. I'm not quite there.
Yeah. I tell you, I am there. I'm not in the pick'em on the Buffalo Bills anymore. I am in a pick'em against Denver, but I don't know if I'm going to pick them after that.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, it's going to be tough pickings after the Denver game, and you know what? I hate to say it, but it might be a tough game against Denver with the way they're playing. You said it yourself. They played down to their opponents. Why can't they ever play up to their opponents this year? They've done it in years prior, and I need to see more of it. And I think they can figure it out. I think they can do something. I think they can squeak out a playoff run.
You're being too optimistic here. You're being too optimistic here.
What?
What?
The blind fan.
What is it that is going to be fixed? Tell me, because if the problem is Josh, then maybe it's the shoulder. Right, the right shoulder that he's been nursing. If the problem is Dorsey, he's not going anywhere. McDermott already said today. McDermott, if he's the problem, he's not going anywhere. So you have to work with what you have. And as of right now, this season, they have not been able to get out of their own way.
No, they haven't.
And I can't trust that they will until they show that on a consistent basis. The Buffalo Bills are consistently inconsistent.
And they have been my whole life. I've seen this story before.
I'm going back to bed. I'm going back to bed where my thoughts and my dreams.
So wake me up when September ends.
Cannot be
wake me up
infected.
when November ends.
It's already triple N, bro. I don't know what else to do. Buffalo Bills fall to the Cincinnati Bengals next Monday. Do not expect a pregame show here on the KellyCast for all of you 4 people that watch the show, because myself and Mike have the distinct honor of going to that game.
We do.
My bus driver told me to sell the tickets.
We would lose money at this point.
I know. I would not do it. I would not do it at all.
I'll still rather go and support our team and act like a complete fool and dress up.
Yeah. At least we get to have fun.
We get to go have
at the
some
end of the
fun.
day.
I get to go watch and
if they
make fun of us in person.
If they lose, it'll be just like 10 years ago when we used to still have fun at the game and just expect to lose. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But we'll be posting on our social medias at the KellyCast everywhere. This is Mike. I'm Dan. We want to thank you for coming in, and we'll see you next time.
Go Bills.
What?
Go Bills.
Yeah, he still says it when we lose, I guess.
It's still Go Bills.
I mean, he used it on the player intro. Did you notice that?
No.
When they were doing the player intros?
No.
He went, Josh Allen, go Bills. Go Bills. I'll see you later, boys and girls, and whoever else is watching.
Have a good night.
No.